Hey everyone, it's John at FMS. I'm here with Bret Holmes to talk more about the issues of how do we promote in the world of a more like active FTC in our industry, something that traditionally, for a long time hasn't been something that we've had to worry about. We used to worry more about the SEC until the publisher's exemption kind of passed. And I talked to Martin Weiss a couple months back or 6 months back, and he was like, for someone who's been in the industry for 50 years, having the FTC come in and start to pay attention to us is a relatively new thing. It's a regulatory change. And I know there's been a lot of stuff going on. There was the Raging Bull case, but with that new list of companies put on notice with earnings claims and all the issues that come around with that, like people are scared because people don't know what the rules are. They're not sure how to address this. A lot of people who've tried to make things more compliant, their copy's not converting anymore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like there's two perspectives on the industry right now. One is it's the worst of times. One is the best of times.
Yep.
And the worst of times is when you're talking about like copy and promo, it feels like. Best of times is all the other stuff that's happening in the industry. But for copy, like, Bret, you've worked with, these lure companies. You've been one of the best kind of scalers, I'd say, in the business. You've worked with a lot of small people. You've worked with people who've had all kinds of issues in terms of both copy in general. You've done some work with people who've had to deal with FTC issues and things like that. So, like, where do you see things right now? Like, what's your take on the industry right now?
Take care of your customer, number one. So I've had conversations over the last year working with some of you and working within different companies where the promo doesn't match the product. Start there. Like the copy packages that I have scripted and talked to people about doing, make me the order form first. Is if you're looking for very simple rules, make the order form first. Tell me what's in the product first. If you're going to kitchen sink everything at it and promise them the moon, you got to make sure it's in the order form, and you got to make sure you actually deliver. You have to understand something about the FTC, and I'm no FTC lawyer, and I'm sure you have talked to some or whatever.
Yeah, we have a recording on the site from Damon over at Gordon Reese, who's done a really good job of talking about the issues on it from a legal perspective.
Yeah, and you only need one, really. I mean, you don't need a ton. You just need a perspective on it. The perspective that I have is that the FTC is really there to protect the consumer. They're there to protect people. So if you are doing things and making promises and leveraging false narratives, and also acquiring a large customer base that refunds at a very high rate, and the refund process is difficult, you are setting yourself up for some pain. There's a checklist there. Like, do I have no refunds? Yes, that's bad. When people auto renew, can they do it on the website? Yes, that's good. Do they have to call in? That's bad. There are literal laws right now that say, like, if you bought it via email, you should be able to cancel via email. Okay. You have to have a quality product. Also, is your customer service team responsive? Not everybody has the luxury of having a 10 to 20 person customer service team. A lot of the customer service that you get comes directly to the owner or directly to an editor. If you do not return people's emails or phone calls, they will find other avenues and other places to talk about how unhappy they are. Giving people, like, you don't have to give refunds necessarily, but you have to be extremely explicit. And I'm not talking like buried copy somewhere. You have to be explicit. Same copy that you use in a headline, you have to use it on the order form, be able to say, this is not a refundable product. And even that doesn't matter, because if people get together on triple B boards, Trustpilot, state's attorneys, what have you, and they talk about the fact that what you bought is not what you were promised, you were not able to get a refund, you were not able to get back from customer service, they didn't issue your refund in a timely manner, you're in trouble. And the things the FTC are looking for on the front side of that, for me, are lifestyle things. I haven't seen a lifestyle promo in a while. And when they pop up, I sort of feel sorry for people that put them up, because I'm like, dude, that's not a good idea. A lifestyle promo is you driving around a Lamborghini or a private jet and start talking about how you're a multi-million-dollar trader. These things may be true, 100%. But the way that they're going to look at it is that you are assuming that person can become you. And that's that they really frown on. Things that they do like. Anything else when we go into what they don't like?
No, I mean, I think, well, the whole lifestyle thing, like, there's this thing where, you know, you're an entrepreneur, you're a trader, you're all these different things, and so you're getting money from multiple sources,
Yep,
and you could be actually showing your real lifestyle,
sure.
but you're not necessarily saying, well, a lot of this is paid for from the business, not a lot of this is paid for from my training. And that is where you cross some lines that in their mind that, like, well, what exactly are you representing with that?
They,
So yeah.
they also don't like email as a service or text as a service. That is a problem. I know you don't think it's a problem because you're saying it is, right? So when we are publishing stock prices, stock recommendations, and by the way, if you ever have a chance to deal with the FTC, you're going to realize real quick they don't understand our industry at all. They don't understand the Publishing Act. They don't care about it. It doesn't matter. They think that we're giving out stock tips to people, individual people. That's the way that they're going to look at it. However, when we give them out and we tell people to take action on them and the stock is already moved by the email or the text, that's a problem. That is basically not the product that they bought. And that's the way they're going to look at it. So if email alerts and text messaging is the primary way that you fulfill your product, you're probably, first off, you're a little behind the times. Second off, you probably have a pretty angry list that you don't know about of people that have either given up on your product. And if they can't get a refund, trust me, they will find a way to make their voice heard.
So let's break that down. So there's a couple issues there. There's one, like, what are you talking about in terms of product format, right?
Yep.
And then there's the kind of the gap between what you're telling people they're buying and what you're delivering, which is where I think, like, so because Aaron DeHogue and I had a conversation about this, and I think he thinks that a lot of the issues that are coming up are really, I mean, they're lazy copy issues.
Yep.
Or overly aggressive copy that it's just like the promotion gets disconnected from the product. And so now that issue, like you bring up, of like, well, what did they just buy? Well, the promotion says this, but you're delivering this. So, like, in a product format, what are you talking about in terms of if the email service or text is the product? Well, what else would be the product if you're so how would you think about structuring a product that's compliant?
So one of the things I do know, being in the world of the FCC, is that they don't have a problem with live trading rooms. As a matter of fact, and that's actually an advantage for us that they didn't really know the business. They're like, well, what is this? And they're like, well, this is what you promised. This should be the product. And people don't really have a problem with live trading rooms. Some of your competitors out there that run live trading rooms where they fulfill the product in the room, their refund rates are sub 7% on a refund. Like, they give refunds. People don't want to take the refund.
Right.
They want to take refunds when they realize they spend $2,000 for you to give them one cryptocurrency pick a month. That's a bad product. I don't care what you think about it. It's maybe it's a bad product comparable to what other people are offering and what their expectations are. I feel like it's not going to be able to compete long term. Now, the copy might be great, your list might be great, your acquisition method might be great, but inside it is a decaying product. Live trading rooms, proximity works, honesty works, a lot more touch points, Telegram, WhatsApp, different private rooms, lead flow, community, all these things help bolster the value of what it is you're doing, aside from just sending people emails and posting on a website. Yeah, it's just
so like, just from a like a macro view here, this is, like, I think one of the problems that direct response and cross industry and direct response has is that we get so focused on promo and copy that, like, that can lead the business. And what you're talking about is basically, like, doing what a lot of other industries do, which is the customer leads the business, and actually thinking about the customer experience and taking the customer first. And that's one of the areas where our disconnect has happened.
sure.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've implemented recently is a learning management system with live trainers. So your guy doesn't necessarily need to go live, right? Nobody wants to hire necessarily an editor or a guru or whatever you call it to chain them to a desk to go live for 3 hours a day. Very few of those guys exist. And the ones that do exist, God bless you, you make life much easier. But some of the guys are like, listen, I got a great story. I know the stuff. Do a promo around me. We'll do the thing. That's fine. He's not going to be able to go live every day. But if you have a structure to the service think of the major objections you get in customer service, telesales. I don't know how to get started. I don't know how to trade options. I don't know how to start a crypto account. Blah, 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 blah. Down the line, you take those and you actually give them a sign from a customer service agent on the other end, which 98% of the time, and I've read tens of thousands of customer service emails, do not answer that question. They point them to an FAQ. They point them to a competitor's website, which I've seen, which drives me bonkers. But what we've started to implement in this instance is live trainers that can mentor small groups. And not only do people love their trainers, they do not refund the product, and they also engage at a higher level. You're looking for stats here. Huh? What do you mean?
What's that look like?
What's that look like? So you buy the product, and part of your onboarding is there is 2 hours a day. You can hire ex-CBOE guys. There's tons of them out there. There's tons of trainers out there. I'm sure some of the people in the audience here run training companies. They're always looking to work together with us. I worked with Lincoln and Gordon recently, and Brian King and some other trainers. And what they're providing people when they come into the product is, hey, every day I go live for 2 hours and I walk you through exactly what this product does. I walk you through the trades we did yesterday, the trades we did today, how to do a setup, blah, 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 blah. But there's interaction. Customers have a way to interact. Customer service reps are in the room to answer raised questions, raised hands. And we do offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all our products, and they refund at 15%. I can imagine that if you put a refund 30 days on your product, it would refund at 40 to 50% for a $2,000 product. That's just the name of the game. And I think you can't look yourself in the mirror and say that's a healthy product. Even 15% for me isn't all that healthy, but I know that we do have a huge amount of, I won't say tire kickers, but people that know, want to buy the service, I'm going to cancel it, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to offer them that refund. Like, I don't want my customer service or telesales people to stand in the way of anything they do. Now, the twist that I put into the LMS is that you do have to pass some quizzes. Like, you do have to partake a little bit. If you partake and pass them, it's like 2 or 3 hours worth of work. Happy to give you a refund. That's sort of our money back guarantee, and it's complicated. But the trainers allow the proximity. If you don't have a guru that's willing to do the proximity. And even if the guru doesn't do the proximity, usually they have 2 or 3. Tim Sykes has got guys. Tom Gentile's got guys. They got guys. What the customer wants is not to be completely deflated by the lack of product that we have presented over the last 15 years. And I assure you that there's nobody in watching this that is like saying, you know what, there are some. But to get back into mainstream, you have got to bolster a solid promo with solid product. It can't just be sending people emails and, updating a portfolio. It's just not good enough at this point.
Yeah. So now think about, like, we have different segments in the industry, right? So you have like really active traders who, like, a trading room is fantastic for. Then you have kind of like the like the old school, more investors. A trading room isn't going to work so great for them as much.
Nope. But investors have similar questions. Like, can I trade on my, can I invest out of my Roth IRA?
Mm-hmm.
What do the taxes look like for next year? The point is that they're writing into you with their concerns. And what I've seen from the industry coming back is very, very little as far as making them feel like they're part of a community. You have to be able to host in a setting where they can voice their concerns, you address them, and it's very open. If you're depending on your customer service or telesales staff to take care of that, listen, I love customer service and telesales guys. I do. I've read thousands of emails from tens of companies, and very rarely do they answer the questions. They want the guy.
Well, for like a smaller guy who like, because a lot of these things to do well, you need to just add staff, and if you're not in a position to be able to add a lot of staff,
sure.
Even doing something that sounds like then that, like, having a couple, like once a week, even like a couple hour period, like an open period where you're doing a live webinar that's open, where you're just training and just going through the basics again, and just offering that on an ongoing basis where they can get into the webinar and ask questions. And so
you can take questions ahead of time, right? You can prime the webinar ahead of time, send me your questions. I'm going to run down them. You're basically doing objection promo, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. And this is only one small part. What I would advise, though, if you're going back to the FTC thing, if your product is sending somebody email with stock picks in it, I don't think that the FTC would consider that to be a viable. I just don't. No matter how many disclaimers you put in your promo, whatever, they don't care. They don't care about your disclaimers. They don't. What they care about is whether or not your customers are happy. If you're refunding 30 to 40% and your triple B rating is a D, you might want to put some money aside because that's not the mark of a company. It's just not.
Yeah. So one of the things that you brought up at the summit last time was the idea of product as promo.
Yep.
And like, where do you see that fitting in this kind of new environment? Because there's like things about changing our current processes, and then there's a lot of things about like new processes, new formats, new ways of approaching this whole thing that I think get lost in the conversation sometimes.
Product as promo is definitely the way that I'm doing, way that I'm going. You know, there aren't a lot of $300 million giants out there anymore. And the ones that are $300 million giants or even larger, I think their liability is a lot. And you know, I think the liability is a lot based on the promos that I see in the products they offer. I really like, and Mike Ward used to tell me this all the time. I remember when we got to $250 million and he was like, I just want a nice $50 million business. There's a reason for that. One, I'm not exactly expanding the marketing onion wide to taking people that have no business buying my product and buying it, and therefore upping my liability. Mm-hmm. Doing product as promo involves some sampling, involves giving away the product for free before you launch it for a while. You still want promo for it, that's fine, but the product should match the promo. You should make the product before you make the promo, and you should see what it's like to give it away for a little while and what the appetite is for it. Also, the product itself should be good enough and honest enough to be able to sell straight up. If you watch Monday Morning Live, which is a show that we created here, you know, if we do $30,000 to $50,000 a day off that show, it's an honest 30 to 50 grand. There's no promo, right? I'm not sitting here going, you know, watch this sit down set thing. You know, that's product as promo to me. I'm showing people this is what I do. I cut it off at a certain point. That's where we kind of struggle right now, is figuring what that point is to make people come back and view, giving them enough, but not giving them the whole thing and not giving them the whole experience. That's the challenge of product as promo. And I think some people have tried this in the past. I know Simpler Trading has tried this and you know, that's a very healthy business. Simpler Trading is a healthy business. They like their business. They like showing up for work. Their customers are happy. You know, I used to say, like, you know, John, you could be a $100 million business. Like, yeah, but I'm happy. He's happy because he makes a product that he believes in. When he sells it, you know, he sells the class, he sells the indicator, and then he sells the service. And it's a very qualified step through. Not a lot of promo there. That is promo. Now, there's a way to heighten that. There's a way to do things from a marketing standpoint, which gives him more exposure. But that is product as promo to me. And those companies are the ones that are going to be around in 15, 20 years. They just are. They're the ones that are going to have healthy bottom lines. They're going to be able to sleep at night from a legal standpoint. And I know that a lot of copywriters right now are leaving places with structured, strict legal rules. I'm dealing with that every day. I'm going here because they don't have any rules. I'm going here because they don't have any rules. Those same companies have asked me to go there, and I ain't going. Yeah. I'm not going any place without rules. And I'm not going any place personally that's going to write a promo that is either back tested or, like, you can't do back tested promos anymore. You can't do that. It's a false narrative. They're going to tell you that. You're going to be strung up for that. You can't lie about your trades. You can't cherry pick them. You can't do a specific sampling. So if you guys are doing that right now, I'm sure the grass is green right now. I promise you. It seems good. My advice would be to listen to some of the people here or even me, just about what to tone down a little bit and make the product.
Well, that's the thing too, is that I think for a long time, a lot of small guys basically were operating under the assumption that I'm too small to be noticed. And that is, like, not a legal strategy. It's not good for you. It's not good for your customers. It's not good for the industry.
It's like I only steal a candy bar from 7-Eleven. Like, oh, okay.
And like, I think that's the thing, is that a lot of people don't, like, we've been talking about this for years at FMS. Like, I've been shocked at how many people haven't had legal review, and honestly, like, this action and kind of activity by the FTC has scared the crap out of a lot of those people, and now they have legal review. So it's like, sure. you're watching it and it's like, well, there's a reason that they're doing this and it's working, because it's doing what they want, which is like, you should actually consider these things. But going back to the product issue too, because there was, I don't want to name him, but there was a copywriter who had his favorite crit that he ever got from somebody who has a very big business and very well-known copywriter at the time. His critique was the problem with this promo is it too accurately describes the product. And that kind of attitude on the copy side of like, I think a lot of times everyone's dying for conversion, and we think that increasing the quality of the promo or the claims or the craziness of the promo is how you do it. But really the problem is that like a lot of times your product is just below market quality. Like the industry's moved on from product models that were 10, 15, 20 years old, and it's moving faster and faster. The quality of the guru and the credibility that you have, like why, all of those things matter, I feel, more and more. And the more you like the higher quality of the guy, the easier it is to say things that are exciting and interesting and useful. And you see that with some of the promos that like you guys have done over the years with, we call them celebrities, but like that whole cannabis promo back with John Boehner, like the fact that you got John Boehner, who was the speaker, right? Was a speaker?
Yep.
Who was the biggest cannabis opponent. And then he leaves and he turns and he switches his view. Like that was a huge story. Like that is a natural story. The copy, it doesn't need to be extravagant. It doesn't need to get hyperbolic. It doesn't need to get crazy. You don't need to push things because the story itself is fundamentally interesting and good, relevant to the product.
Sure.
And I think that we don't think about creating the credibility, building the credibility anymore the way that you used to. Or I should say some of the best people in the industry do.
I feel like it was way wilder when I first started. It was wild when I first, you could say anything you wanted. When I used to send out emails, like make $1 billion. You say whatever you want. Can't do that anymore. The credibility factor of the gurus is important, but for me, it's like most of the people that enter into our business, some of them have this idea that they're going to get rich on some windfall thing that was promised to them. That's dangerous. You don't want to do that. Even with the cannabis thing, there was a sense of community. Like you were, and it was cleverly named as the National Institute for Cannabis Investing. But the people that wrote into us, they wanted to make little clubs around the United States. They wanted to know other cannabis people, and they wanted to know each other. There was a community there. It made the product pretty healthy. Stuff again was fulfilled via email, some pics, etc. But sticking on cannabis, that is a healthy. If you're looking to actually get into that front end world, Stansberry's done an amazing job of it over the last 2 years. They've beaten just about everybody to the punch. They're doing it freaking, I think today. I think they're going to talk about the metaverse today, and I got to tune in to talk about the metaverse. But they were ahead on SPACs. I mean, I was ahead on Bitcoin in 2013, but I don't know. We were so far ahead of it. We too far ahead of it.
Yeah.
But they're looking at verticals to get into and maximize quickly. Those products I still think are pretty healthy from an information quid pro quo. Like if it's something new and you're offering me service for the something new, and you don't make outlandish claims about how much money you're going to make or how it's back tested. The one thing that copy team over there does is they do the research to qualify that vertical. Here's why you want to be interested. Here's the market cap. Here's where it's going. Here's what's dying. This is what it's taking the place of. Those products I still think are pretty healthy in some capacity.
I mean, those
if I was there, I would want to see more proximity. Like I would want to see proximity. I would want to see my questions answered. Like that's the thing you really got to get to the next step. You can't. I've been around customer service and telesales teams for a long time. The customer is not your enemy, man. They have to be your advocate. And I know that that's a foreign thing to our industry. We tend to treat and talk about our customers like they're, in a bad way. I've heard really.
It always pisses me off because
they're not. If you ever meet them at conferences, all they want is for you to be on. Literally, if you ever go to conferences, the only thing they want is for you to be honest. If you lose trades, be honest. If you win trades, be honest. But they know that we do it better than they do. They know we have better investing ideas than they do. We have better trading than they do. They don't expect you to win all the time. They expect you to be honest. I watched a franchise one time go from 25 million to zero in 12 months because the guy didn't own up to one stock pick that he kept banging on and banging on and banging, and he never covered it, and everybody left. Everybody left. I mean, that aside from the FTC, that's just bad business, right?
Yeah.
So product as promo is important. It's tricky though. Keep watching. I'm going to crack that nut soon. But I would still like to make, at this point, $150,000, $200,000 a day, 70 to 100 person company with lower overhead, like not as stringent on, buying media at a loss, creating an environment where somebody can come in and sample the product, get the product, be part of a community. That's the kind of, I've been doing this long enough that I get to pick and choose that's what I want to do. I feel this is the best time that I've ever had, has been developing that environment. How do we send more mail? How do we trick legal into getting this out? There's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
The short term of that seems good, but you also better be in it for the short term. Like you better be willing to be like, all right, we're done. Because if you keep doing it that way, it's going to catch you.
Well, that's where and I'd say this as someone who came up as a copywriter, the copywriter mindset leads the promo, and copywriters are, compensated short term, right? Like I want this promo to work because I get a commission, I get a royalty. And they're not thinking about the customer long term. They're not thinking about the value of the customer, down the road. It's like this promo, not only because I'm compensated that way, but as a copywriter, it's like my value as a person is determined by how well I can write this promo and how well it converts. Yeah. And so everything gets tied into this one thing versus looking at the whole business. And
the greed aspect of the promo is one thing, and I'm not telling you to stop writing promo by any means, but take VWAP for instance, right? So we have a guy named Kenny Glick, trades VWAP. Kenny doesn't keep a track record. I can't even use a track record in the promo because his picks move so fast, 15, 30 minutes in and out. It's really difficult. He takes off some here, stop loss here. It's complicated. I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm not worried about that because I can sell $15 million worth of Kenny just by talking about how his system, if you're looking for a copy hook, how his system attacks. Every day there are 30 stocks that are going to move the most, right at the bell, 30. His system gives you all 30. And then if you want to trade with him live, he's going to pick the 3 to 5 that he thinks has the best breakouts. That is product as promo. That's what he does, right? You take the watch list aspect of it. You have a guy that really wants to trade it for real, walk people through it, give them training for people that come in and watch, but like, this is too fast. I don't know how to do this. Fine. There's a 2-hour training session this afternoon, and I'll be here, by the way, again tomorrow doing the same thing. And ask me questions then. But that is the healthiest product that I've ever seen. In that Monday Morning Live, like we get 4,000 to 10,000 comments a day. 98% of them are positive, and it's I've never seen anything like that. People used to be tired of putting comments on when they did. I'm not gonna. What they do is bash me. Like well, they probably don't like your product, dude. Like if your people are in your room bashing you, they're not haters. You're not doing a good job, to be honest with you. And if you need to move them, make sure you give them their money back. Politely, if you find people in there that are bashing you, politely bring them to the side and be like, we would like to offer you a refund. Don't take it. They're just miserable people. So yeah, they're just angry all the time. Some people you can never please. I swear to God. I've seen people complain like 20 sentences and be like, oh, no, I love the product. It's amazing. I'm like, well, come on, man. So.
Well, do you think I feel like we talked about this before in another setting, but we had, I'd say the last 5 years, 6 years in the industry, you had kind of the explosion of active trading. Yep. And active trading is sold to people or has been sold kind of in a different environment. That's where all the income kind of promos started, because how do you talk about trading in the short term? They talk about a lot of times they're selling it in terms of income and you can make this much because that's how traders think about trading. There's a lot of people trade that way. Sure. And we got away from these big, like you were talking about Stansberry, and they're doing a metaverse thing today, and they're doing these big, I'd say, investment theses. We used to sell investment stories, market stories, looking things in the market that people are actually interested in, and giving them products that they actually want versus kind of that, I have this idea, I'm going to just create a promo as hard as I can to push it, but they may not want it at all.
Or they may not like the premium set they get. They may be completely underwhelmed. And when you promise people the moon and you don't deliver, it's just bad news.
But now we're mainstreaming, right? And so if we're mainstreaming, the very act of mainstreaming, more people getting involved in active investing and active trading, that means that more people, a bigger customer base, actually wants something, right? They want help. And so the fact that the trading rooms are so popular and people can buy them, they don't refund at the same rate. When they're good, that they're really exciting. That means there's a big audience that actually wants that format.
Yes, but there's drawbacks to it. Your onion's going to be smaller. Trust me, the investment is big. It is bigger, and I applaud the investing onion. The trading world is, for me, healthier because the people are more engaged. They have less expectations. They want to learn. They're rooting for you a lot more. But I do think there's a chance to do the same thing you do with trading with investing. And that is either to move them along into being an active investor. You can use that as sort of a walking term for them. But giving them constant updates that allow them proximity is where I would go if I was running a large investing arm of a company. Like Shagalani, for example, when I first came here and I said, well, we have a platform, we're going to put you, he was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, why? He was like, it's a waste of my time. Now I can't get him off there because all he gets is positive feedback from his people. His refund rate went from 38% to 16%. Like, people like him, and his engagement on his e-letter went from 10% open, 8% clicks to 30% opens and 25% clicks, because people want to be able to see him and ask him some questions. Proximity is a big part of what we do. Relationships are a big part. If you ever go to a conference and watch people line up to get Porter Stansberry's autograph, you're like, okay, but that's a thing. That is a thing. So,
well, that's the thing too, is I think that I always thought there's different ways to model product, right? Like, some people, an old school way to do investment product was the product ladder, the back ends were the higher risk stuff, right? Yes. So you do but with trading, I've noticed that some of the better businesses out there, proximity is what they sell, right? So up into from here's a low price product and here's what I do, how to do it. Then you can watch me live doing it. Then there's I can work with you in a small group format to train you and help you. So they get closer and closer to the guru, and the price point goes up, and people pay it because that proximity piece matters. People are.
It does. And the reason that it's smaller is because people sit in a room all day. They don't have an hour. We still sell a lot of things to dentists and whatever, people that want to invest and they want to make money quickly. What I find, though, from those people, talking to them at conferences, is that they buy the service. They don't need to do it every day. They just want to know that it's there and that it's consistent and that it's transparent and that it's communicated to them what is going to be delivered. They still own the service and they still want the picks. I'm not saying don't send them out via email and don't send them out by SMS, but it cannot be your main, it should not be your main way of talking to people going forward, because just circle back, the FTC will not consider it viable. I can guarantee you that. If you recommend something at $1.17 and you send out the email and the timestamp of the email says $9.53, and they cross-reference that with what the price of that equity was at $9.53, and it's $1.46, they're going to say, this is a fraudulent product. That is going to happen. Just telling you.
That's
if there's one rule that I would say, avoid, it's that. I mean, that's also the number one complaint that our customers have. It's the number one complaint. Ask any customer service, what's the number one complaint? I can't get into the recommendations you get. Now,
yeah, 100%.
Some people keep it pretty lax. You should buy Caterpillar and hold it for 15 years. Okay. If that's your kind of service, then you're probably okay. But if you're literally looking for short-term gains or to not upset anyone, being able to recommend something live for posterity reasons, be able to say, I said it live. If you want to watch it live, hit it live. The FTC will be like, that's as good as you can get, pretty much, from a product delivery standpoint.
That's good. So if you're active trading, you're saying basically there isn't really another format like the live trading room, whether you like it or not. You got that. And then if you're active investing, where you have you can recommend things that are not moving that fast, then
I think you're probably okay as long as you keep the
content service. But even then, it's you have your membership area and but being clear about what you're saying, what you're promising that you're saying, though, because I think even traditionally, like you're looking at research reports, you're looking at like ongoing, whether you have a model portfolio, like there should be a thing that you're saying that you're delivering that they can actually follow.
And the best way to do that is to do it on video or do it live and let them ask questions. Like if you're saying, listen, man, I love the dip right now in DraftKings, buy it at 27.14, that's fine. But to actually go live and break down why you're doing it, first off, you're going to have a happy customer. I guarantee customers are going to be so much happier. And if you can even take questions from them, like, oh, if you like DraftKings, what do you think about Penn? Like, what do you think about MGM? I don't like those. Here's why I don't like them. That is not personalized investment advice. Those are just questions coming in. You're not telling anybody how to manage a portfolio or how much to invest. These questions have been cleared by, trust me, the most stringent legal there is, that we can answer those. You can't tell them, like, it's a posed question. Like, it's just content. But I can tell you that the people love it a lot. So actually, I don't know why I'm giving these away. Just keep doing emails and stuff. So that's my take on the FTC as far as I've seen.
You don't think it's not like this isn't going to kill, this isn't a business killer. It's not a
no
an industry killer. It's just
you're going through a transitional phase. People are trading, options are being traded more for the first time ever than stocks. More people are holding stocks for less amount of time. Your demographics changing, right? And your demographic ain't coming to us. Your demographic's going to YouTube and TikTok. That's where, or Twitch. That's where they're going, and they're going to Reddit. That's where they're going, and you're not get those people right now.
I definitely see this. The direction of the industry is going to be going to things like, product and content going out in e-letter stuff instead of an e-letter necessarily. You're going to the Discord and Telegram channels and Twitch and, like you said, Reddit, and like also it's going to work both ways. So our industry, our people are going to have to go that direction.
Yes.
And all those places right now are finding there's new people who are like, I trade and I have a paid group now, and you see them in there. And so all the new kind of people who are starting these businesses are showing up in places like that, maybe on a platform like Substack, who's bringing in a bunch of people who are for the first time able to monetize their picks. And so it is, it's a time of transformation, and the FTC piece is just one piece of it.
Yeah. Simple things to check. If you don't have a BBB rating, you should get one. And if you do have one, you should know what it is. And if it's less than an A, it's not that hard to fix it. BBB care about whether people complain. They realize that they're there for people to complain. That's what they're there for. They care that you don't respond to the complaints. That's what they care about. So if you're letting that thing go feral, you got a problem. Trustpilot is definitely less trusted than them than a BBB, because there's a way to pay for stuff. It's weird. But you got to check yourself out on there. And if you are refunding product at 40 to 50%, you have to ask yourself, is what we're selling here the right thing for our business? Like 15 to 20% is still high compared to other products, but I've seen 3 to 5% on no refund. But if I live at 15%, I'm pretty happy. First off, I know I have a very happy base. That's with money back guarantee, by the way. That's 15% with a money back guarantee is where you want to live. And instruct the people that are dealing with refunds or whatever, be very lenient. Also, one thing you really need to understand is if you are issuing refunds, and I've heard this for years, if somebody says, I'm going to get my state's attorney, or I'm going to get my lawyer, okay, we'll give you a refund. You can't do that. The nice little old lady that calls in and says, can I get a refund? And you go, no. And she says, okay. You cannot treat those people differently. That's
interesting.
If somebody calls in and screams and complains, if you look at Target or Walmart, you remember when we were kids, your dad would be like, hold on for a second. And he would raise a hullabaloo, money back, because he had to. That was the only way. I'm just saying, they don't deal with that anymore. They're just like, here's your money, get out. They don't deal with any of that stuff anymore. You try to return something now, they don't care. 3 years late and it's been used. They're like, okay, here's your money, get out. Same thing here. You cannot treat customers differently. If somebody calls in and they're a big complainer, do yourself a favor, refund them, and don't ever let them buy another product again. If you can do that. If you don't want it, I don't care about that. Just make sure you're refunding very across the board the same way. Don't mess with people. That's
I think like 90, maybe 100, but 99% of, I feel like FTC cases that we've seen in the industry have started somewhere in the customer service process with them.
That's where the FTC starts 1,000,000,000%. You get angry people that group together online and they're starting to figure out how to do that. And they throw you up there. It's going to go to the state's attorney. And if you don't respond to the state's attorney is going to wrap it in a bow and take it to the FTC. And the FTC is going to sit there. They can wait years. Sit there and wait. Take care of your customers. Make sure you have healthy product. Don't have outlandish promo. I'm not saying that to get a competitive edge. And trust me, I'm jealous. I look at some of the promos out there and I'm like, God, I would love to run that thing. But then I think to myself, I have no idea how they're going to be in business in a year. You can't scale from 0 to like 25 or 30 million and have no, first off, there's no way you have the guts of a company to be able to take care of that much customer inflow. And second, what you're promising, I know they want it, but you're probably garnering the wrong kind of person. I'm starting to see good ads out right now for people to say, if you don't have, I think it's Bauer. I think it's the guys over at Strike Point. I think it's Bauer, right? That's their trading guy. I think it's Bauer. Anyway, he's got like, if you don't have $5,000 in a trading account, do not watch this ad. Do not watch the ad. I like that ad. Again, I like a $50 to $100 million business. I think any of these businesses, if they have real gurus and talent and infrastructure and good management, can be a $50 to $100 million business. You start going beyond that, you're getting into a world where you're probably selling something that people didn't want, but are kind of taking a shot on, and you better be nice to them because they will gang up. So,
yeah, and I think most of the people I've talked to who've kind of gotten up to north of that, they kind of regret getting that size.
Sure.
This is a dramatically different business.
It is. There's a lot more headache, a lot more management, a lot more exposure, a lot more liability. Remember, we're in the bestseller business, ladies and gentlemen. Like, look at the history of movie production houses. They go up, they go down. They go up, they go down. Same thing happens to us. Everybody's going to have a dry season. You're going to go up, you go down. If you get to 250 million and you go down to 110 and you have to lay people off and change your structure, that's really difficult in our environment. You're also going to lose a lot of talent. I'll just tell you this honestly. If you get to that large of a company, your best people are likely underpaid and they're likely going to leave and go someplace else. And that's just a fact. That happens everywhere. It happens Nike or Under Armour. Like if you're the executive vice president of Under Armour and you're making 250 grand a year and you just IPO'd, you're like, bye. Somebody's going to pick you up or you're going to start your own business. So, staying healthy, having health metrics are important. So those are
the health metric.
Triple B rating, making sure you're understanding your refund rate, make sure your call center or your email response is 100% in 48 hours. Your connectivity, if you have a customer service department or better, these are pretty standard. And try not to fulfill your product if you're doing swing trading or options trading via email. Try not to do that. It's just, and I get it, man. You can say, well, the Publishing Act allows for that. They don't care about the Publishing Act. 1,000,000,000%.
Well, that's the big thing is that like the Publishing Act is very specifically an issue with the SEC. There is no question whatsoever that the FTC has jurisdiction over publishing. Like it's not like gray. It's 1,000,000,000% they have jurisdiction. So the Publishing Act is completely unrelated to that agency to begin with.
The only thing the FTC cares about is whether or not people like you. And you do right by the customers that don't. Keep that in mind. You should be.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Brett. I think it was super helpful. So
yeah, man. I wish I could see you in the Bahamas.
Yeah, I wish you could too.
Everybody's going. Everybody's ads are like, dude, I'm going to the Bahamas. I'm going to the Bahamas. I'm like, where are you staying? I'm like, I have 3 kids. Like, I'm can't go.
Well, we're bringing the family down for ours. So.
Yeah.
There's still room for you.
I know. Have fun. Zoom me in if you want. I'll join via Zoom. Hang out.
I may do that actually.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks. Take care.